See, look at that. I can play the drums. We don't need Bobby anymore. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. We are live, my friends. We are live. And welcome to the Beehive. Um, I think I'm live. Yeah, we're live. Hey Beth, how's it going? Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Jessica. Very good to see you too. Oh, I am I am stressing big time for tomorrow's procedure, and I'm trying not to. I made the big mistake of watching the video of someone getting a cardio version done. I posted it on my Facebook page. If you want to take a look at it. But I got done watching. I'm like, no, 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 I don't think so. So, but anyhow, I'm sure everything's gonna be all right. I'm just nervous. I mean, it's a lot less intrusive than my cancer surgery I had quite a while ago, where they actually sawed through two ribs and then cut out my upper right um, lobe of my lung. So yeah, this is a lot better, well, a lot easier, a lot better than what I've got going on tomorrow. I don't like the idea of someone stopping my heart on purpose. That kind of freaks me out. And besides that, I got to finish the story, right? The stories has got to get done. So it will go just fine, my friend, and I'm sure it will. Hey, Chuck, how's it going? Chuck went through it himself, so he said he made it. So if he can make it, I can make it. It's something that's out of your control, so you can only trust. That's very, very true, Angela. Thank you for that. Um, yeah. So anytime I go on a big trip, um, or I go in for any type of procedure, I always contact my kids and I let them know that I love them. And I always tell them, I said, I'm sure everything is going to be just fine. And everything's going to work out just fine. They've done this procedure thousands of times, and it's all worked out very well. And I've followed the doctor's orders. I took my medications, my blood thinners like I was supposed to every day. I didn't miss one dose, so it's going to be fine. Um, but in case something does happen, I just want you kids to know that I love you and I'm very proud of you, and leave it at that. Um, so yeah, there's that. That's what I got going on. Um, I'm excited to read chapters. What are we doing? Chapters 5 and 6 with you guys today. Um, we have been following Broken Birds since the beginning. He got himself a really bad cancer diagnosis, and he's got a little less than a year to live. And so and he lost his mom, and he decided to sell everything he's got, pack up his essentials, and hop on his motorcycle and travel the United States um, to find himself, maybe get some answers, who knows. But he found out through his dad that his dad was not his biological dad. I told you too fast. And so he is dealing with that. Um, and he is on his way to his mother's reservation. He plans on just stopping by just to release her ashes there. And along the way, he meets somebody very wise, which you will all meet as well. Um, but so in saying that, and having the book here, normally I wait for everybody to show up. For the most part, a big chunk of you are here. I know it's Tuesday, so Bobby's probably at a Lions meeting. Um, Steph's probably on her way home from work, and Kevin, Lord knows where Kevin is. He might just be sleeping. You never know. Uh, oh, well, look, there's Bobby right there. So, anyhow, yeah. So I have to drive to Burnsville tonight yet. I was gonna go home, say goodbye to everybody at home, and throw a couple pairs of clothing in there and my medications, and then head to Burnsville. My dad is gonna take me in the morning, and he's gonna come pick me up in the after it's done, and then I'm gonna probably stay with him overnight. I'm supposed to have somebody with me for 24 hours after the procedure to make sure that I don't know, make sure I don't know what he would do if something happened to me anyway, but yeah, so it's so that somebody's there in case something does happen, they can call 911, I guess. So he just got done with his meeting. Oh, gotcha, buddy. So, all right, so we're just really missing Kevin out of you regulars, and I'm sure he will catch up, or he'll wake up soon and go, ah, damn it, I missed it. But anyhow, I just wanna get tonight's deal done, tonight's reading, and then be off, so I'm not too late. My dad's waiting up on me right now. He's got to buzz me in to his condo. I'm drinking lemon perfect water, and it's water with lemon in it, and it's pretty tasty. There's zero sugar. So, anyways, I'm not a big pop man. I'm really not. So, I'm always looking for flavored waters or teas and stuff. So, anyways, without further ado, um, let's start the story, shall we? Thanks, Bobby. Thank you very much. All right. Oh, and I don't have the studio equipment set up. This is just me raw on the I'm raw talking the laptop. Is what I'm doing. Yeah. All right. Enough of that. That's crude. Grow up, Bradley. All right. The Ballad of Broken Bird, Chapter 6. Straight south of Interstate 90 is a small reservation. Oh, wait, we don't want to be on Chapter 6. We want to be on Chapter 5. I, I don't know why I was starting at 6. Sorry, folks. I'll get my shit together someday. Do 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 do. Um. Wow, I turned that into a long chapter, didn't I? Chapter 4. No, I just went too far. Alright, here we go. Chapter 5. The Ballad of Broken Bird, Chapter 5. I probably shouldn't have spent the time I did in Sioux City. It ate up most of the morning and some of my afternoon. But it was good to see Missy and Jack, and for that I'm grateful to have at least had the time I did. I followed the Missouri River all the way up to Highway 18. It was a beautiful drive. Golden plains rolled throughout until you came to the river valley that looked like it was carved into the land with a giant axe. Who was that Minnesota legend? Was it Paul Bunyan? I forget. It was a hilly ride. Deep slopes to the point where I didn't need to hardly hit the accelerator or hit the throttle until I made it near the peak of the next hill. Bald eagles glided through the skies above me on enormous brown wings. I was jealous of my brothers. I stopped at a little town called Picksville, a beautiful riverside city with a dam and little shops and eateries on the river. I stopped at a little bar and grill called Knotheads. It had a great atmosphere, and it was attached to the Fort Randall Inn. I ordered a whiskey 7 and a basket of wings. The waitress was friendly, as most are, and worked hard for that tip. "Whereabouts you from?" she asked. "Oh, I'm from all over," I said, "but I was born in Minnesota, Pipestone to be exact." "Ah," she said, "the Native American Mecca. I thought that was South Dakota." "Maybe so, but Pipestone is considered to be a holy place." "That's a surprise to me." "Are you native?" "Yes, ma'am." I was gonna say I'm only half from my mother's side. I'm Irish on my dad's side. But I stopped myself because that's no longer true anymore. "What tribe?" I'm from the Ojibwe Weta Nation." "Then you should know how sacred that town is." "I guess." My mother told me a lot of stories as I was growing up. Stories about our people and our traditions. But I didn't know any more if any of that was true. Every culture has a flood story. Pipestone was part of ours. Seems this water monster, Tehi was her name, got really pissed at the human race. I think she thought we were a bunch of bastards. Anyhow, she spoke of the great spirit of the air and had him flood the whole world. Killed all of our ancestors, except for one girl. And that girl was rescued by the great eagle spirit, and they had many kids. And those kids became the new people of Turtle Island. Anyhow, all the ancestors that died, well, their blood stained the earth, and that is what Pipestone is made out of. There's quarries at the Monument State Park. Think my family has a plot there. Don't really know, and nobody really tells. "Are you riding to the Black Hills?" she asked on the way back with my order. "Yep, and then..." And I didn't know how to finish, or even if I wanted to. "And then, who knows, right?" she answered for me. And I really liked that answer. Right. I was 4 deep in whiskey 7s, and I decided I should probably head out. I summoned the waitress and asked for my tab. "Say, do you know of a good campground nearby? I ran out of daylight," I spoke. "You could stay at the hotel here. The rates are pretty cheap," she said. "I was looking at someplace under the stars." "Well, Joe Day Bay has a nice recreation area. Not sure if you can camp there, but you might want to check it out. It's up off of 71. "Thank you." "Happy trails." As it turns out, you can't camp at Joe Day Bay Recreation Area. It's basically just an area to launch a boat or fish off the small wooden pier. But the scenery was so picturesque, I had to park and take a walk around. There was no one here. The Missouri was blue like the ocean. Its waves lapped at the sandy shore. There were steep ridges that dropped off down into the riverbank. I would be unseen if I parked my bike off to the trees and camped along the shore. I found a point that was hidden from plain sight. I gathered some wood and set up a fire and rolled out my sleeping bag and made up a comfortable bed in the sand. It was perfect for my first night on my own. The skies were clear and the stars shined down with a glow of the moon. The river lapped at the edge of the banks. I remember my mother telling me about what the native people thought about stars, that they were the spirits of those who have died, and they were looking down on us. The number of stars outweighed the number of people I knew dead or alive. So knowing that stars were balls of bright gaseous matter, I knew that those were just stories my people told their kids. How could one have so many ancestors up there? And maybe they all weren't mine. Maybe they were other people's ancestors as well. Of course they were. Why would I be the only one that could see the ancestors in the sky? I laughed to myself because I was having such a ridiculous conversation. But then I thought, what if I'm one of those stars? Someday soon I would be. I'd be above, looking down on the rest of the family. I'd look after Jack. And my kids, too. But maybe they wouldn't want me around. Maybe they don't even think about me. My entire childhood was filled with stories about my heritage. Funerals, marriages, fire ceremonies, vision quests, etc. I'd never really witnessed any of them. Only crap I saw on the television. It's not that I didn't want to know about them. I maybe didn't have the heart to ask about them. Mom's reservation was nearby, and part of me wanted to stop through. There was still family there. Possibly my real father might be there. I did promise to take her ashes there. I didn't really like that term, real father. A real father is there to watch his kid grow, and afterwards. My supposed real father probably doesn't even know I exist. I began to think about my dad again. Not really thinking of him as my dad, but as a man, as a human being. He must have been about 19 or 20 when I was born. He was away from home for the first time. And not only that, he was flying back and forth from California to Hawaii and then Saigon and then all the way back again. He was carrying ammunition in and black body bags back. What a solemn job. Then he comes back home and his girlfriend is out dancing with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I can't imagine he felt like he fit in with all those native men. He probably met my biological father and didn't even know it. And that's just shitty. And I was angry again. How could you? I shouted to the western sky, because that's where the ancestors are. The horizon only stood there, reflecting the light of my ancestors. How could you do this to me? How could you do this to my dad? My whole life has been a lie. You've lied to me my whole entire life. I'll have to carry this around. Well, I'm coming up there soon, Mom. And when I do, you'll have to answer for all of this. All of it! Only the coyotes answered me, howling and yipping in the distance. Perhaps they had the scent of a wounded rabbit somewhere nearby. Eventually I would hear the cry of the rabbit, as the rabbit group ripped it to shreds and fought over the carcass. I put on another 2 logs on the fire, and then bundled up in my sleeping bag. I laid there waiting to hear the death throes of a jackrabbit, or some other poor unfortunate animal the coyotes were chasing. But it never came. What came instead was a thrum in the earth, just below me. It felt like a heartbeat. Thump, thumpa, thump. I jumped up out of my sleeping bag, wondering if there was an earthquake, but the rest of the world around me was calm. I knelt by the fire and felt the ground with my hands. I felt it again. Thump, thumpa, thump. I remember another tale that my mother told me about the drums of a ceremonial dance. The drum's main rhythm is the heartbeat of the Earth Mother. It is like the heartbeat we hear while we are in the womb of our human mothers. Well, then I began to think about my mother and being able to hear her heartbeat. As angry as I was about what she had done, I missed her too. I began to cry missing her. I was reminded of the sound of her heartbeat on the ECG monitor when she was in the hospital. It was the only sign that she was still around. She had been in a coma. I missed her laughter, her scent, her voice. There is no warmth in the world like a mother's embrace, and I wish the Earth Mother would embrace me now. But I guess she will someday soon, when I walk around in the underworld. I drifted off to sleep in tears. Chapter 6. Straight south of Interstate 90 is a small reservation, known as the Ojibwe-Weta Indian Reservation. The population is less than 311 people. It is tucked into what the natives call the Badlands. It looks like a desert cut into the surrounding green space of America's top tourist area. There are spires of rock jutting from the earth like knives. Those spires are supposed to be the vertebrae of Unkentehe, the water monster who drowned the ancestors. Her punishment was to be turned to stone. And maybe that's whose heartbeat I felt last night. The people of Weta are a depressed folk. Money does not flow through here like their cousins who run casinos and sell their traditional wares to the white man. There's a gas station that still uses the old-style pumps, selling out a liquor at the first of every month. An old trading post that sells necessities that have expired or gathered dust waiting for a passerby to purchase. Also, at the center of this gravel main drag is the tribal office, which is really just a single wide trailer home with a desk in it and some photos of the old ones. The town is filled with relatives I had only met a few times in my younger years. This was Mom's reservation, her people, her hometown. The White River runs its oxbows just to the southwest of town. I pulled up alongside its banks and decided to take a break from the road. It was breathtaking. The waters were calm, and the entire area was silent except for the cry of the birds. Hawks screeched above, calling out to one another, gliding like feathered kites. The scenery seemed so familiar, but I couldn't place it. Perhaps I played out here when we visited when I was a child. I wanted to take a dip into those waters, so I kicked off my boots and pulled off my shirt. I unbuckled my jeans and dived into the cool waters. There was a soft current pushing against my body, and the sand felt good through my toes. When I caught my breath, I laid back and let the current take me. I watched the clouded sky drift by in the opposite direction I was floating. It made it seem as if I were traveling faster. It reminded me of the time I had when rushed to the hospital, when I had attempted suicide back in my 20s. Those halogen lights whizzing past me while I laid there on the gurney. Nameless people surrounding me except for my friend Jenny. She had found me, laid out on the floor of my apartment next to the empty bottles of Bushmills and sleeping pills. going headlong into the OR, and then strapped to a table. One I imagined birthing mothers laid on when it was their time. I remembered them forcing that goddamn tube through my grit teeth. I closed my eyes, playing it through my head like a movie. Who would play me in that movie, you think? Suddenly I thought I heard a muffled voice. I attempted to stand up, but it was deeper where I was, and my head went under. I paddled back up to the surface and gasped for air. I could see a tall figure standing up on the bank. I paddled backwards to the opposite side and climbed up. There was a tall old man standing on the opposite bank. I couldn't tell if he was native, because his skin was pale. He wore thick glasses with a baseball cap. A long eagle feather protruded from one of the vent holes in his trucker's cap, and followed his long gray mane to his shoulders. His face was fully wrinkled because he was smiling. I looked down the river to see how far I had drifted. I could see my bike about 5,000 feet south of me. Then I glanced back at him. Hi, I said timidly. Well, hello, he answered. I see plenty of things come down this creek. Beaver, otter, trout, sheephead, sometimes even a northern pike. But I've never seen a fella in his underwear. He chuckled again. Sorry. No need to apologize. You looked like you were enjoying yourself. I smiled. Yeah, I kinda was. Well, I don't mean to interrupt your swim. No. That's okay. I didn't realize anyone was out here. Well, the white passes through my property, and I was just taking a ride around on Nellie here. She wanted to stop for a drink, and there you were. But I don't own the water. That belongs to everyone. Nellie was his quarter horse, a brown and white beauty that blew out of her nostrils, and then returned to the batch of prairie grass she was munching on. You belong to town? He asked. No, I answered. I'm just passing through. No one passes through the Weta reservation. We're out of the way. Well, yeah, this was my mom's reservation. I just thought I'd check it out on my way through. Well, if it's your mom's res, then it's yours too. The old man stared at me for a bit. How long you planning on sticking around? He said. Not sure. I really didn't. I thought I would just take a peek around, maybe visit a few cousins and aunts and uncles, and then just move on. Well, I live up there. He pointed to a tall grassy hill where a modest old farmhouse stood. If you're hungry, you're welcome to some food. If you get tired, you're welcome to sack out under the stars. Well, I appreciate that. I swam back and got dressed, hopped on the bike and drove into town to gas up and buy a pack of cigarettes. Yeah, I know, I've got cancer, but it's still gonna kill me soon, so I might as well enjoy myself, right? Come to find out, my uncle owned the gas station. He didn't recognize me at first, but he had the same last name as my mama. What brings you home, nephew? He said in that thick native accent. I'm just passing through, Uncle, I answered. And then my auntie appeared from the office. Nephew! She began to cry and hugged me tightly. You've come to stay, yes? She asked. No, Auntie, I'm just riding through. You've come all this way. You not gonna stay? The boy's got his own journey, my uncle interrupted. You know, my sister would not be happy if you drove on through without having a proper visit with your family. I'll tell the cousins to come out, and we'll have a big meal. I'll make some fry bread, and I really can't stay too long, Auntie. But thank you. You know, your mother, no disrespect, but if you cared about what my mother thought, maybe you should have showed up to her funeral. She looked at me like I had slapped her in the face. You have no idea how much I wanted to. Then why didn't you? She lived in Nebraska, less than 3 hours away. I was getting angry again. My mother came to visit you all at least once a year, sometimes more if there was a funeral or a wedding, but she lies dying in the hospital with only us kids next to her. I didn't want to get angry. I didn't want this sick feeling in my gut to ruin my day. I didn't want to attack the only attachment I have to my mother's family. Really, they were all I had. And here I was, lambasting them over a fire. I laid my money on the counter. I'm sorry. I've got to go. Did you bring her Ochawagan home? At least? My auntie asked with pleading eyes. She asked if I had brought her spirit home, which is what we skins do if we wandered off the res and decided to die. I brought her ashes home, yes, I answered. She requested to be scattered about her old homestead. The old homestead is torn down. No one moved in there after Grandma died. Well, then I guess I'll scatter them on what's left. My auntie looked to my uncle to say something. Maybe get me to stay for a coffee at least. But he cleared his throat and just gave me a nod. With that, I left. They would never see me alive again. And realistically, they wouldn't even see me dead either. Funny sometimes how you hold on to resentment more for family than you would a stranger. But I was tired of fake people, fake affection. I'd been through 2 marriages that were fake. Finding out that my childhood was pretty much fake too didn't help. And life was short, really short, especially for me now. I didn't have time to wait for this shit, and I wasn't about to let any more fake shit into my life. On top of all that, I needed them. I needed to know the proper way to send off my mother, the way our people do. But all I had was the white man's way. I weighed in my head the consequences of this decision. Should I send Mom off the way her people did? Or should I send her off my way? Call me bitter. Call me whatever you like. I don't really care. I'll be dead by the time you all read this anyways. So, whatever. I went to the old homestead, and it was gone. There was just a dusty plot of land and a pile of old lumber left. Evidently, it was a good-sized home back in its day. It housed many kids, and those kids grew up and had grandkids, who also lived within its walls. Eventually, a generation wises up and decides to leave this depressed area and make something of themselves and moves off the res. And now, all of those memories and all of that history is a pile of rotted wood and moldy clothing. "What's your business here?" a voice from behind me asked. "This is where my mom grew up," I said, and then turned to look at the wreckage again. I thought about how it represented my life. "Who was your mom?" "Noho. But she said we called her Manadoosh. Well, I called her Auntie Bittybug. I didn't know how to say ladybug when I was little, so Bittybug stuck. Yeah, cool story, bro. Listen, heard you disrespect my parents in there, cousin. I'm seriously not in the mood for this shit. I'm not in the mood to listen to your sob story either. We've all heard about your cancer, and I imagine it wasn't easy dealing with your mom's death on top of it. But you still have to show respect to your elders. I wasn't brought up on the res, okay? So don't start preaching to. This isn't about you. This is about honoring your mom, honoring your ancestors, honoring your heritage. Show some pride. Show some respect, cuz. My face went red. Not with anger, but with shame. He was right. Despite the anger I felt with her family, this cancer, this life, I was on sacred land. Come with me, cousin. He waved over to follow him. He walked around the remains of the house, and we took a trek down a hill to a long, winding creek. Lay your mom here, he said, sitting on the bank. Our mothers used to do chores along the banks of this creek. This is where she would want to rest. Thank you, I said humbly. He lit a bundle of sage and chanted something that was alien to me. He then opened a pouch filled with tobacco and offered it to the four winds. Go ahead, my cousin, he said gently. The ancestors are ready to receive her. I opened the plastic bag and tossed her ashes into the winds. She flew about in a cloud and then rested little by little in the cool waters of White Creek. I began to weep, and my cousin put his hand on my shoulder, and he wept with me. I wish I would have spent some time with him after that. He showed me kindness and forgiveness. He walked past my anger and still showed me empathy. Though he made the decision to stay on the res, he was an active participant in the community. Spent weekends teaching the young ones about our traditions and giving them back their culture. I never understood why Mom didn't raise us kids on the res. Maybe it was because she wanted to grow up like the white ladies did. White picket fence, flashy car, and flashy house. There was none of that here. Double-wide trailer is about as fancy as they get. Not that that's a bad thing. A person's castle is a person's castle. You make do with what the Great Spirit hands you. Mom wanted more. I'm sure my dad wouldn't have really felt like he belonged here either. He was a white redhead from a small Minnesota town. Part of them colonizers we're supposed to hate. But it would have been nice to be raised around my culture. Maybe absorb some of that wisdom we're all supposed to have about life and nature and the spirit world. But I'm just a brown skin walking around with a white boy's mind. And that, my friends, is the end of chapter 7. Or no, that was the end of chapter 6. I read 5 and 6 to you guys. So, yeah, there you go. I hope you guys have been enjoying your ride with Broken Bird. It can be very emotional sometimes for me because some of this touches on the truth and real events and real people. So sometimes those feelings get a little raw. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the ride. Well, thank you, Beth. Thank you very much. It's it was pretty nice to see Last week's last week's reading. There was 255 viewers. Um, that's that's pretty amazing. Um, because I mean, yeah, out of all my books, this is probably the one I want to get noticed on. Um, so yeah, I mean that's a good sign. I do hope. First of all, oh thank you, Angela, thank you. Um, I hope that you guys, if you've enjoyed us, which it sounds like you guys have enjoyed this, that you would share this story with your friends and invite them out here for these events. Um, we'll be doing this again next Tuesday. Um, also, I was asked by somebody from the library in town here if they're doing an auction for some equipment for their library and asked if I would donate a couple books. And I was like, absolutely, I totally will for their silent auction. So if you're in town or you're nearby and you want a couple of books, I'm gonna have two of my books are gonna be part of the auction, um, which is coming up, I think, the 19th through the 25th or something like that, I believe. So, but oh, thanks, Jessica. Thank you very much. Um, so yeah, gonna have a couple of my books available at an auction. I actually do need to donate my latest book, Thin Spots, to the library because I believe they have all my books except for that one. So yes, have fun with the body plumber. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you very much. So, yeah. That being said, I'm gonna close this up early tonight so I can get out to Burnsville. I'm gonna want to visit at home for a little bit before I leave. So before I do, and I'm sure I will be back next week on Tuesday for another, because we got to finish this, right? Right. So, and everything's going to be fine, right? Right. If for some odd freaking reason some freak accident happens, just know I love you guys very much. I so very much appreciate your support on my stuff. Um, uh, I can't. I I didn't think I was ever going to get to like a million viewers or whatever, or a million followers or anything like that. Just to have the number that I do from when I started off this thing like 2, 3 years ago, pretty amazing. So thank you all very much, very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing my events with people, and thank you for coming by whenever you can. Thanks for stopping onto my YouTube channel and checking that out. Please, if you do go to my YouTube channel, please like and subscribe there because the more followers that I have there or subscribers that I have on my YouTube channel, I can actually do this thing on YouTube and then I can really branch out. Something that really bothers me about Facebook is I can only invite a certain amount of people and then after that I can't invite anybody else from my friends list. And that kind of sucks because I'm the creator of this content. So I'd like to be able to invite everybody on my friends list to do it. So I can't. So you guys coming along and bringing your friends and family, very much appreciate that. Thank you very much. Drive safe. The doctors will take care of you. I hope so. I hope they do. Yes, that's what they're there for. So, what else I got going on? I don't think I have anything else to add other than, yeah, I think we're all good. Kevin, I don't know if you can tune in later or whatever, but I hope you're doing okay, buddy. Um, yeah, so there we go. No toe tapping Thursday this week because I'll be laid up getting better. Um, and let's see what else. I think that's it. Oh yes, this Friday is the deadline to vote for the 2025 b.hive Productions Halloween special story. Um, so there's three stories up there you guys need to vote for. They're all going to get written anyways. They're going to be put in the new book. That's I don't know when that's coming out, but they're going to be put in the new book. This prompt is for you guys to make a decision on which one I write and complete and read by Halloween this year for a Halloween special. So it's in your guys' hands. So don't forget to vote. Don't forget to have your friends vote. Thank you guys for sharing that on your pages as well. For me, Chuck, badges and bees, always welcome. Always. So, all right, I'll see you guys later. Hopefully, I'll be super better after this gets done. I'm told that you will feel hundreds of times better than I do right now because I just realized that I feel miserable all the time and yeah, it'll be nice to feel different. So I've just been really good at faking not feeling miserable. And yeah. Anyhow, so maybe there'll be a new me, or whatever, or something. And I might come in live with you and let you know how everything went. Meantime, peace, everybody. Bottle of hair grease. Mwah. And I'll talk to you soon. And thank you for all your well wishes. God damn, I'm a lucky man.